Animals. Everybody loves them. I do too, particularly horses. So I have a little story about my personal experience with them. I go to an equestrian camp as often as I can to ride horses. The story is from my first time at the camp. I was riding this old and slow horse and I was desperately trying to make him move. My instructor was screaming at me to tap him with the whip. I was terrified. I thought, no, I can't do that. What if he gets hurt? So I didn't tap him. The ride wasn't the most successful and it didn't really go off that well, as I'm sure you all guessed. After the ride, I went up to my instructor and asked him, "Why did you ask me to hit the horse?" He said very matter of factly, "To make him go faster." He didn't really elaborate, so I asked, "Why? Wouldn't it hurt the poor animal?" He said, "No, horses are thick skinned. They're trained to respond to the tap. They know that if they're being tapped or whipped, it's a sign for them to go faster." And I guess that's common with almost all animals that have been trained. All of them are trained to follow certain commands, and once they've learned how to follow the commands and do it well and execute it accurately, they get rewarded with love and affection. We've all heard of Ivan Pavlov, right? Don't worry if you haven't, I'm just going to give you a little refresher. In his digestive research, Pavlov and his assistants introduced a variety of edible and non edible items and measured the saliva production that came from the dogs. Salivation, he noted, is a reflexive process and occurs automatically in response to an unconscious stimulus and is not under our own conscious control. However, Pavlov also noted that the dogs would often begin salivating in the absence of food or even the smell of food. He quickly realized that this salivary response was not due to an automatic or physiological process. Instead, Pavlov came to the conclusion that this salivation was a learned response, that dogs were responding to the sight of the assistant's white lab coats, which they had come to associate with the presentation of food. So, unlike the salivary response to the presentation of food, which is an unconditioned reflex, salivating to the expectation of food is a conditioned reflex. Now, this got me thinking. I think we as humans are conditioned in a similar way to associate our self worth entirely with validation. When someone tells us we look good, we automatically preen and think, "Oh, I look good because this person said so." But let's take a negative example. A person is repeatedly bullied and teased for being fat and ugly, and eventually the person starts seeing themselves as a fat or ugly person. But that shouldn't be the case. Aren't we so much more than just these passing comments? Now imagine this scenario with me. I'm sure many of us have been through this as young children. You're a young child around possibly 7 or 8 years old. There's this really cool game that you've been eyeing for a while now. And you also have a really big test coming up. So when you ask your mom for this game, she says, "Get the top score on this test and I'll get you the game." Sounds familiar? Now the ball's in your court. It can pretty much go two ways. One, you work really, really hard and you get that perfect score, so you get the game. Or two, you don't work hard, you don't score well on the test, and you don't get the game. Simple, right? Not really. There's a third alternative where you work just as hard, but you miss that perfect score by just 1 point because of a small mistake. You still got a pretty good score, but it's not good enough for you to get the game that you want. Now imagine how you feel. This can also play out in two ways. One, you feel great, you're on top of the world for that amazing score that you got. But there's a second alternative which overshadows the first. The feeling of having missed your reward by just a point. It's terrible, isn't it? You feel like you're not good enough and you start beating yourself up over it. But does this mistake define you? Yes, the reward was something that you desperately, desperately wanted and you were really looking forward to it. But why should that define who you are? For an 8-year-old, getting that reward meant that your parents were happy with you and they were proud of you, and that was considered validation for your 8-year-old self. Should you let your self esteem be defined by the reward though? The validation that you receive? No. Ideally, trying to learn from the mistakes you make and doing better the next time, and the joy that comes with that improvement, that self satisfaction, that is what defines you. Not the validation, not what that game could have given you. The growth in your knowledge, your growth as a person, that is what defines you. That is you. Yes, we're still humans and we all make mistakes. But we learn from those mistakes. We pick ourselves up and dust ourselves off and move on. If we keep attaching our self worth to these tiny little gifts, we'll need a bigger gift each time to feel better. Then we'll reach a point where no gift, no amount of validation can make us happy. So, what next? Your self esteem is defined entirely by you, it comes from within. Things that define you are your experiences, your perspectives, your personality, your creativity, your passions, your hobbies, your goals, your attitudes, your ethics, your morals. These aspects are entirely dependent on you, and that is what defines you. That's what makes you who you are, not what others tell you. So, you're not a rock star just because you aced one test, and you're not a loser just because you messed one up. Rewards and gifts don't define who you are. You decide what should define you, and you learning from your mistakes is what makes you who you are.